Hello, our next presenter is Jim Hesketh. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Viva Gold Corp, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol VAUCF, as well as on the TSXV under the symbol VAU. And I'd like to welcome Jim back. This is his third time presenting at our post-SFE investor conference. Welcome, Jim.
Pleasure being here. Thank you for having me. And, got it. So we're going to talk about Viva Gold Corp today. We're located, the Tonopah project is located near Tonopah, Nevada. It's in the heart of really gold mining country. Forward-looking statements, they're on our website. Read them at your leisure. So our real strategy is we're in a very high-priced market right now. We're in a market where gold is being discussed on the radio, on TV, on a daily basis. There's a lot of interest. What we have in our company is a high confidence resource. It's in a location where you can actually build a mine, permit it, and we're very advanced on our baseline study work. We're currently completing a PEA study that should be out in the next month. That study focuses on scoping out what a feasibility study will look like for this project. So that's our next phase, to move the project into feasibility study. But the entire premise is, instead of drilling, trying to continuously expand, we want to move quickly through feasibility study, initiate permitting. We do have a permitting window here, likely to last for a few years. That's fairly unique and supportive. And the real goal is to get a project moving, and we can always use cash flow later to drill out the remainder of the deposit. And that's the real goal for the company. Now, our ownership in this company, it's basically majority ownership by 4 institutions. Dundee Corp is our major shareholder with 20%. Grab Capital out of the UK. Mermican Gold Fund, that's Dan Oliver's fund. They own a good chunk, 8.6%. Pointillis, that's a PE group. They own 8.6%. But this has been very supportive for us in terms of raising capital, drilling, and engineering work. So the team, Chris Harold, he's the president and CEO of Solitario Resources. I'm also on his board. Very savvy explorationist, has always run a cash flow positive exploration company. Andy Bolin, former director of operations for Barrick North America. Dave Whittle, who's a very strong small company CFO, CEO background. Ted Mahoney, who's former business development manager and chief geologist for Barrick Gold. Myself, I'm a mining engineer and mineral economist by training. I've built about 8 mines in my career. So the focus on this team is pretty obvious. Adrian Goldstone, technical director for Dundee. I first met Adrian when we were building a gold mine in Russia in the 1990s. So really our focus is moving a project from exploration into production. And whether we get bought on the way to building and developing, or whether we develop ourselves, our focus is to develop a mine and a project that can be built. So let's look at the location. Our Tonopah project, it's the Blue Star, and it's located about a half-hour's drive south of Kinross Round Mountain Mine. We're located north of the Centerra Gold projects, and Anglo Gold is just south of that. But there's been a number of acquisitions by those companies and Augusta Gold, and the permitted projects in this district have been selling for between $100 and $175 per ounce. Those are good comps, and we're currently trading at about $15 per ounce. So there's the value proposition in Viva. It's a re-rating as we move towards permitting and completion of feasibility type work. And that's really our goal, bring value to our shareholders. We've consistently grown the resource on this project since we picked it up in 2017. These numbers are stale since we produced these numbers in January of 2022. We drilled about 65 additional drill holes. So that'll be in the new estimate coming out the end of this month. The deposit here is associated with a contact zone in between a Ordovician age argillite. That's a very old 300 million year old rock, overlain by 20-odd million year old tertiary volcanics. We have structure in this deposit, a lot of structural context. The fluids essentially came up from deep in the earth, up the structures, hit that lithologic contact between those two rock types, and then spread out laterally. So the deposit right now is about it's over a mile long. It's about 350 yards wide, and it's laying in there in a sub-horizontal manner. And it's anywhere between 80 to 100 meters thick. That's up to 400 feet thick throughout that zone. And it comes to within 35 feet of surface. So it's a shallow zone. We've got quite a bit of high grade in this deposit. There's about 7 different major high grade pods, with the highest grade in the database being over 5,000 grams per ton. So we go from low grade disseminated ores to high grade in cross-cutting veins and breccias. And here's a cross section through our discovery zone. Those purple colors are 5 and 10 grams a ton, and these are 6 meter cubes, 6 meter by 6 meter by 6 meter in the block model. So you've got quite contiguous high grade zones, and that gives us some optionality in terms of how we look at this metallurgy. Talk about that in a minute. Our most recent drilling program, we completed this one and announced these results in January. You can see here we get quite a bit of high and low grades. Really had one of the holes there that the 423 was a surprise hole. We hit quite a bit of high grade. Sorry, it's anyway, the 2422, we hit high grade at quite a shallow depth in a zone that we had considered to be deeper gold zone. So we've got some follow-up to do. That was a fairly significant step out. And then this last program, we did drill one major step out hole about 600 meters to the south and hit on that one as well. We've got additional upside going to our west Midway Hills prospect. That was drilled initially by Rio Agam in the 1980s. We really haven't done a lot of follow-up on that. Our real goal has been to turn the main deposit into measured and indicated for feasibility study. And we anticipate that the new feasibility study will, or the new study that we're producing will be in the order of somewhere between 85 and 90% measured and indicated material, which tells you that's ready to do some more serious work on. The exploration upside, we can tackle that once we have permits and a mine producing. There's no sense in continuing to drill and dilute your shareholders nonstop. So really, that's our philosophy. Continue to build that shareholder value and try not to kill our shareholders in the process. So on the metallurgy, we've been the beneficiary of being the fourth owner on this project. It always pays to be the third or fourth owner because you've got a lot of work that came before you and it's sunk costs. Work done on this project included Kennecott Minerals, who made the major discovery, Newmont Gold, and Midway Gold. The mineralization here is intensely oxidized. We see very little sulfide in the deposit. It's a low sulfidation epithermal system. And we know that the gold is recoverable, the high grade through gravity, the microfine free high grade through flotation, and all of it's recoverable to some degree through cyanide leach. So we've got optionality. Column leach test work on this shows 69 to 71% gold recovery. And the if we grind this to 75 microns, we can get 92 to 94% gold recovery on the high grade. Now, when I talk about high grade, at a 1 gram cutoff, you've got approximately 20% of the tons in the deposit, but they contain about half the gold. So that's something that we look at. We also have within about a 30-mile radius several mills that are potential locations to take high grade too. That includes the Round Mountain Mill if they'll accept product. But we have, again, heap leach recovery grades in the 70% range, and then we can turn high grade into 94% plus gold recovery. So we're currently playing with those different scenarios in our current step. This is some economics that were produced in 2022. They're totally stale. But one thing it did demonstrate, and this is because of the shallow high grade in this deposit, a lot of sensitivity to gold price on the upside. So again, a nice scenario for today's environment. In terms of the project itself, you can see this picture, the road in the background. If you go to the right, that goes to the Round Mountain mine. That's a mine that's produced over 15 million ounces now. And if you go to the left, it goes to the town of Tonopah, about 20 minutes away. Will be one of the closest mines to town. That'll help with our ability to get miners. We also have running along the eastern edge of our property a commercial water pipeline belonging to Tonopah Public Utilities. They've got substantial excess water rights, so we've had discussions with the town about buying water from them versus going into competition for water supply. It's a win-win, helps the town, and reduces our cost, and it's a good public relations. All those rural utilities are fairly broke, so having a paying customer would go a long way. There's a Nevada Energy power line following that pipeline. It's a 15 kVA line. That can be upgraded to 25 kVA under existing permits. So what you're looking at is a site with paved road access. We can actually get a UPS delivery to our drill rigs. We've done it. That's somewhat unique. Power and water. Those are the key components. We're also 3.5 hours drive from Las Vegas, largest cat dealer in the world. We've got a supply chain here that is unrivaled. Local cement plants, sodium cyanide manufacturing facilities. It's all there. Now, this project, when Newmont held it back in the early 2000s, they took it through a initial environmental assessment, cultural resource studies. Those were completed, and Newmont was issued a exploration plan of operations. That's what we're currently working under. But what we've done since, several years ago, we held what's called a baseline needs assessment meeting, Bureau of Land Management. And they've got a checklist, some 36 different boxes that you got to check off. We had 18 specialists on that meeting, and they were able to sign off on about half the boxes. Since then, we've completed our biologic studies. We've had flag issues. There's no sage grouse, no desert tortoise here. We've been doing quarterly water sampling for over 5 years. Big database now. Seep and spring studies, geochemical characterization studies. Bottom line is, a lot of the baseline study work, the science that goes into the permits has been completed. So when you finish your feasibility study, create a plan of operations, that's how you initiate your environmental impact studies. And that's the basis for the permits. Combine that with the work from the baseline studies. And so that's how you accelerate permitting. My last mine in Nevada, I permitted in 18 months. But it's because the homework is done ahead of time, not during the permitting process. So really, our project goals and timelines, we have updated now the geologic model and resources. Those haven't been published yet. Metallurgical study, we've been doing additional work. We are planning some additional drilling to capture more sample. Baseline study programs have been ongoing. The PE update, this presentation says first quarter, it'll be second quarter. And then use that to move straight into a feasibility study basis. So this is the Viva Gold. The investment thesis is pretty simple. A good gold cycle is a horrible thing to waste. And we got a good gold cycle going on. We also have a very good permitting environment. Horrible thing to waste. Get moving and get this project going. That's the goal. So, questions?
Thanks, Jim. Please let me know if you have a question. I'm happy to bring the mic over to you.
No questions? Yeah. We're trading at about 16, 17 cents in that range. Yeah. Yeah, if we anticipate completing the PEA here this month. Well, not this, maybe early June. So that'll be done. We've got money in the bank to initiate the feasibility work. And On the premise we move that rapidly, which I believe we're set up to do, complete that towards year end, plan of operations, and get the submittals in. The EIS process, provided you've done your baseline work ahead of time, it's about a 1-year process. Now they're talking about these fast 41 accelerated permits. Possibly we can get in on that. I don't know, but on the condition we can't, probably the end of 2026. Yes.
In a rough estimate, not to put you on the spot or anything, but you being the third or the fourth acquirer, have you realized any significant capital benefits and improvements in your understanding of the metallurgical conditions of the potential resource? Had they done prior studies that you're able to access and utilize and to your advantage?
Yeah, most definitely. Kennecott did over 300 bottle roll tests during their ownership. Newmont did additional test work. We've got bottle roll testing, column leach testing. We've got gravity testing, flotation test work, hardness, grindability, all the rest of it. So there was quite a database of prior work. It had never been assembled properly.
And are you able to utilize that to advantage better plan your drilling programs?
Yeah, you know, the understanding of metallurgy is always a key item. But we also inherited a vast database from both Kennecott and Newmont of just about every type of geophysical methodology imagine. It is a huge database. We inherited over 600 drill holes. You know, so we've got a huge amount of data. It took us a while to get that data all reconciled. There was actually 3 or 4 different grids in the database. So we had to bring all that together. But all of that data is now assembled. We've got a great logic model, structural model, and you know, actually one of the tasks we'll be doing is a geometallurgical model next, because we've been taking additional cyanide soluble assays. So we've got a complete oxidation model to go with this and alteration model. So it's a very complete piece of work.
Did you mention the depth to which you've drilled, or you have data on how far down it goes, if there's any sulfite at all, or it's all oxidized near the surface?
Yeah, probably our deepest holes are about 220 meters. Still oxidized. It's deep-seated oxidation. It's a fairly sub-horizontal deposit. It doesn't dive to the pits of hell. It's you know, fairly shallow. It's lenticular, and it's a great open pit mining target.
Jim, we have several of our online investors asking the same question, and that is if you can provide some guidance on when the PEA is expected.
Well, this week I reviewed seven chapters of it, so you know, we're in the review process at this point, and we still are consolidating the final cash flow models, but I do anticipate sometime next month, at least putting a press release out. Then you got 45 days after that to publish the final report. So that's our goal at this point.
Any additional questions? All right. Thanks, Jim.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me. And, don't forget, take a look at Viva. Call sign is VAU on the Venture Exchange and VAUCF on the